Hey everybody, George Whittam for Whittam's World. Where's the camera? Camera, camera. There it is. You know, it'd be nice if these phones had little arrows saying, here's the camera, or like a little ring around the camera so you'd always know where the camera is. Because it's just a black hole, black piece of glass. You can't tell where the camera is. Anyway, there's the camera. I thought I'd do a quick Whittam's World today on an unboxing of a product that just came in from UPS. This comes from Other World Computing, OWC, they're known as, and known on the web at macsales.com. And they are the first ones that I'm aware of to ship a product that gives a Thunderbolt 3 port docking experience to people with new Macs that only have Thunderbolt 3, also known as a USB-C connection. So this is not a USB-C dock. This is a Thunderbolt 3 dock that plugs into USB-C. All right, let me start unboxing. And while I'm unboxing this thing, I'll explain to you what this thing is for, what the heck it does. Thunderbolt 3 is the newest, fastest data connection on a computer. It is basically, without getting into too much technical detail, it's USB on steroids, sort of. Oh, that's nice. They actually give you a Thunderbolt cable. Believe it or not, most products that are Thunderbolt do not come with a Thunderbolt cable because these cables are sold alone and they're expensive. They're usually $40 to $50. So they give you one of those. That's a nice start. Thunderbolt, it's kind of like FireWire a little bit, the next generation of FireWire, and it's evolved quite a lot since FireWire first came out. Oh, there's an incoming call. I'll have to talk to you later. Thankfully, an incoming call doesn't kick you off Facebook Live. That's nice to see. So Thunderbolt came out 5 years ago maybe, then Thunderbolt 2, the next generation. Then Thunderbolt 3 is now on the market, and that is crazy fast. And it's what all the new MacBook Pros, the new MacBook Air eventually, and the new, the MacBook Pro and the new iMac are the computers that support USB-C connections with Thunderbolt 3. So this dock is the thing that will allow you to plug a whole bunch of stuff in to this. Now it's saying my connection is weak. Seriously, I'm on an LTE, very high-speed LTE connection. It says it's weak. Technology. And so this dock allows you to plug a whole bunch of stuff into your dock, so the dock stays on your desk. And then when you want to take your laptop with you, you unplug a single cable from your laptop and take it on the road. Take it out of the office, take it home. Take it with you anywhere you need to go. So you always have your computer with you without having to unplug and plug 5 or 6 different cables. Or in the case of the newer Thunderbolt 3 MacBook, a bunch of little dongles that then adapt from Thunderbolt to USB, Ethernet, HDMI, whatever it is that you need to plug in. So this thing consolidates all that into a box. I'm kind of doing this unboxing right now. It's just a little time filler for anybody who wants to answer or ask me any questions. It doesn't have to be anything related to this. Anything to do with audio at all. Audio gear, voiceover tech, anything. I'm watching. I have the screen facing me now. I can answer your questions when they come in. So go for it. Now we need okay, text message that goes away. That's the problem with Facebook Live on a phone. Everything still happens. Text messages, everything. Can't put it in airport mode because then you can't. Anyway, let me open this thing up so you can see what it looks like. Again, if you have any questions about anything VO tech or anything audio tech, fire away. So the Thunderbolt 3 requires macOS 10.12.2 or later. So it has to be on a Mac that's running Sierra. Okay, so that's important to know. Fortunately, Sierra now is fully debugged from what I can tell. They're on 10.12.5, so it's had 5 debug updates done to it to make it run better. And everybody I know using Sierra at this point, as long as their hardware is compatible, their drivers and their software, they've really had very little major problems with Sierra. So it's pretty safe now as long as you check your compatibility to upgrade to Sierra. So if you want to be able to support something like this or any other hardware that's Sierra OS Sierra specific, it's probably pretty safe to do so. And do it before High Sierra comes out, which is the next operating system that they'll force you to upgrade to. And you'll have to skip Sierra. So sidebar, if you're thinking of getting an upgrade to your OS, get it now. Even if you don't want to install it now, you can still start the download on the App Store, save it for later, and then when you're feeling ready, your system's backed up, it's the weekend, you're not worried, you'll have some time to deal with little surprises, you can install the Sierra update. Okay, so anyway, let me open up the rest of this. So you get the actual unit itself. We've been waiting for this thing. It's been on pre-order since January. That long. Yeah, it's been a long wait for this thing to come. I think because of the complexity and the need for it to work absolutely seamlessly and flawlessly with Apple products, it took them a long time to debug everything, get it to work with all of the newest Sierra updates, and I think that's probably what delayed this thing. I don't know. It took them a long time to release it. But here it is. This is the actual dock itself. It's very attractive in that space gray color. And on the front, there's not too much, but it do give you an SD card slot. That's nice. A headphone jack and a USB 3 port on the front for convenience. And then on the back, they give you a bunch more USB 3 ports. So now you've got a dock with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 USB 3 ports. Even the best MacBook ever made only had 3, and an iMac, the most USB ports they ever had was 4, so this now gives you 5. It's got a digital audio output, something that most people aren't going to use, but it's a feature that was included on the older MacBook Pros, so I think they gave that to you so that you could, not the MacBook Pro, I'm sorry, it was available on the older Mac Pro, so that restores a feature that you lost because Apple eliminated it from their hardware. It also has a good old FireWire 800 port, which is gone the way of the dodo bird in the world of Apple. They don't have any FireWire on anything anymore. So it's nice to get that back if you've got FireWire hardware, audio gear, or FireWire hard drives you still want to use. Then you have your gigabit Ethernet port, something they've also taken off. All of the entire MacBook line no longer has Ethernet, so that's really useful. And then here's the critical connections. These are the Thunderbolt 3 ports right here. Notice they look just like USB-C. In fact, that is a USB-C connection, but it's a USB-C connection that carries Thunderbolt 3. It's really confusing, trust me. Google USB-C Thunderbolt 3, you'll know what I'm talking about. But it has one port that goes to the actual computer, and another port that can be used to then daisy chain another dock or another computer, not another computer, but another dock or a hard drive or something else that uses USB 3. And then you have a dedicated mini display port for plugging in an external monitor. And with this unit, actually, you can plug in a USB-C monitor, which they are starting to come out, and a mini display port, which with the right cable, this can go to HDMI, mini display, DVI. It can go to all sorts of different monitors. So you could probably hook up 2 monitors to this thing. And then you've got your power supply. This thing has to have power to be able to handle all of these devices and the speeds that it's going to output. And it's got these really nice little squishy, soft feet, which you wouldn't think matters that much, but it's so annoying when pieces of gear you sit on your desk and they just ever so slightly rock back and forth because your desk isn't perfectly flat and the feet are too hard. So I like that. Anti-skid, soft rubber feet. What else is in the box? In the box, so I already showed you the Thunderbolt USB-C cable. This cable is capable of carrying 40 gigabits per second of data. That's extremely fast. Oh, darn it, that's reversed. When are we going to figure out how to do mirror video without reversing it? I guess that's impossible. And then in the box is seemingly another Thunderbolt 3 cable. I think that's what that is. It looks exactly like the other one. So they actually give you two Thunderbolt 3 cables. And then the pretty monstrous power is required to run this sucker. That's what allows you to charge a whole bunch of devices off of it with high-speed charging. And USB 3 carries a lot of juice. And then the power cord for the USB, for the power supply. So I'm going to be hooking it up at Howard Parker's studio in the next couple weeks and running all of the gear in his studio through this unit. And hopefully this is going to simplify his studio, reducing the number of dongles and adapters that he has plugged into his 2016 MacBook Pro, which only has USB-C. Oh, and the last thing, this thing also charges the computer that's plugged into it. So if you've got a MacBook Pro plugged in with that single USB-C Thunderbolt 3 cable, it's also going to charge the computer. So pretty sweet. Literally one cable is all it takes that you have to plug in. Hey, Steve, what's up, buddy? Steve Tardio says, I'm looking at buying either a MacBook Air or a MacBook Pro, but all of these new connections are so confusing with the Pro just having Thunderbolt 3. I was told I may need a dock or a bunch of adapters. Yeah, so the advantage of the older MacBook Air, which I have one right over here, and I'm kind of tethered, so I can't walk over there and go get it. Well, let me, hang on. Since you asked, dear Steve, Steve's a good dude. Steve, since you're the only one that's come on live and actually said anything, do I sound pretty good after I've been talking for the last 15 minutes straight? Is the audio good? I have a little lavalier mic plugged into the phone. Just want to make sure it sounds good. This is a MacBook Air. This is I think a 2013 MacBook Air, 13-inch, and they haven't really changed since then. All the newer MacBook Airs are pretty much identical, and they give you, an array of your standard, what you expect to find ports on a computer. They have the charger, the MagSafe 2 connector. They have a USB 3 port here. Actually, it might be just USB 2. I can't remember. Yeah, USB 2. Headphone jack. And then on this side, your Thunderbolt connection, which also works with mini DisplayPort monitors, HDMI, another USB, and then an SD card. That's what you get on a MacBook Air 13-inch. If you get a MacBook, they only have a USB-C port. That's the only port that comes on a MacBook, not MacBook Air, the MacBook. The only real advantage of the MacBook, other than being extremely light and very portable, is it's completely fanless. So if you really want a computer that you can use right next to the mic and never have to worry about fan noise, that one will do it. But otherwise, it's kind of doesn't perform as quickly on all tasks as even the MacBook Air does. The MacBook Pro, though, has only USB-C ports, which are Thunderbolt 3 compatible, and there's 4 of them. So that's great. There's a lot of ports, but you'll still need a bunch of dongles, and that's why this handy-dandy Thunderbolt dock is the thing to use. Connection is twitchy. I see my phone just decided on its own to jump onto a Wi-Fi network. How fascinating. So I wonder if now it's worse or better. So is the video twitchy now? Did it become twitchy? Or was it twitchy before it switched to Wi-Fi on its own? I'm curious. Yeah, this little sucker, this might be what you want to get. If you're going to get a MacBook Pro, the Thunderbolt 3 dock from OWC, which is finally shipping, is the thing that's going to give you all the ports that you're missing on the new MacBook Pros. They're not cheap, probably about $300. I think that's what these things sell for, so just budget that in. You are out of sync, NOE. You're out of sync, NOE. I don't know what that means, Gary, but you're saying that my audio and video is out of sync? Maybe that's what you're saying? Um, I'm out of sync now. Okay. Let me see if I can seamlessly switch off the Wi-Fi and go back to LTE without it causing a total train wreck. It may not work, but okay, it paused and then it resumed. Now I'm using LTE. Um, now I'm using LTE. Are we working now? Are we solid? Sync good? Video picture quality good? Let me know. Gary says, I need a solid external docking station for my MacBook 12. Gary, they make another version of this that's just called the USB-C docking station. For your MacBook 12, that's all you need. You only need the USB-C dock. You don't need the Thunderbolt 3 dock. I'm 99% sure about that. Check the specs for your MacBook 12 and see if the port on it is USB-C or Thunderbolt 3. I'm 99% sure it's USB-C, in which case you want a USB-C dock. It looks exactly like this and pretty much concludes almost all the same ports on it. It's just USB-C standard instead of Thunderbolt 3. Um, so, Steve, I'm sorry, man. I am disappointed in Facebook Live's glitchy delivery. I know I've got a very strong LTE signal, which gives me about 40 to 50 megabit up and down. So that's a bummer, but as long as you guys can hear me, that's probably the most important thing. Um, so yeah, I hope that helps Gary and Steve. Did I answer your questions? If you have any other questions, fire away. If not, I will wrap up this video shortly. I'm going to be starting to do more Facebook Live-y kinds of things because, frankly, the amount of time to produce my classic Whittam's World videos, it's getting too difficult to squeeze in the time, and I'd rather be able to continue connecting with you and sharing my thoughts and answering your questions any way possible. And a way I can do that here is with Facebook Live. So I'm going to be doing more Facebook Live. I'm also considering doing a specific Facebook Live time every week, or at least with some notice, so you guys know when I'll be doing Facebook Live. That way you can anticipate it and come and be here so you can actually, ask questions. Because doing it at random in the middle of the day, there's not a lot of people who are going to be able to jump on the feed live. And I really want the interactive abilities. That's the whole point. Well, one of the main points of using Facebook Live is it can be interactive. So cool, Steve. I'm glad that the LTE is working better than the Wi-Fi. This gives me a chance to have a little rant. I am on Frontier Fios. Frontier the Fios system, which is fiber optic connection to your home, used to be owned and run by Verizon. When it was run by Verizon, it was fantastic. As of late, since it's been taken over by Frontier in the last year, it has gotten far less reliable and glitchy. I've been fighting and dealing with unreliable connections all morning. So I've had to fall back to using my mobile phone's Verizon LTE, and using it as a hotspot. Thank goodness I have that option because it works fantastic, it's solid, and it's fast at my location because I actually happen to have really good signal here. But it's saving my butt while Frontier flounders with lousy Fios connectivity. So a lot of people have been frustrated with Frontier. I wonder what your experiences out there have been. Leave your comments below about what internet connections you guys use for your studios and what you found to be reliable. Oh, one more question from Gary. MacBook 12 can edit 4K video. It's as powerful as I need, and silent is wonderful. Wow, I had no idea MacBook 12 has the power to edit 4K video. That is impressive. It's probably because while its actual CPU is not as powerful as what you can get on a MacBook Air, it must have a very powerful GPU or graphics processor that allows it to do that. But I have to say that's pretty impressive. I have a 2011 Mac Mini that I've been using up until now for all of my video editing, and it handles 1080p video editing okay. It's not absolutely seamless. Sometimes it freezes and hangs on me and I have to wait. But for the most part, it does the job. And it's, what is that, 6 years old now? But it is a quad-core i7. And so it helps for the rendering. But video-wise, the GPU graphics processor on it is the pits. It's really low end. Even for that time, it was a low end processor. So, Nathan, what's going on? Good to see you, Nathan. Um, so before I wrap this up, any last minute questions from you guys? Anything you've had bugging you? Technical issues, computer problems, sound gear, whatever. Now's your chance. Let me know. As I was saying before, I plan to start letting people know in advance when I'll be doing these lives so that you can plan to be here and be able to be interactive. So I love the interactive. As anybody that knows that watches my show on Monday nights, Voiceover Body Shop, it's all about the liveness of it in the chat room. So I like to be able to carry that over here to Whittam's World. So anyway, I guess that's going to be it for today. I got to get back to the grind. I got a lot in the inbox. I want to get all my Twisted Wave stacks done, and I've got some projects for Source Elements in the works where I'm producing explainer videos, which they've actually already released one of them on iLok. That's pretty cool. Go check it out over at Source Elements on their YouTube page. And I'm also going to be doing some other projects for Edge here in the production department. And I've got now 8 studio builds, consulting, designing, whatever, that are all underway simultaneously. I'm just starting one for Debbie Derryberry and Scott Rummel. Name drop, bing, bing. But I'm pretty proud of getting to work with some of the top in the business. It's a real honor and a lot of fun. Well, I will wrap it up. What did you say? Somebody just said something I want to say. Oh, Nathan said I need to get in touch with you to help me get my Source Connect working again. Well, you got it, Nate. You know how to find me. If you don't know how to find me, edgestudiotechnology.com. Go to the website and right at the top, just click Get George. It's that simple. Oh, Steve has it back to the topic. I'm still debating between the Air or the Pro. Get the MacBook Pro if you want the extra horsepower and the super fast graphics processor, and when you want to be able to hook up, say, 2 4K monitors. You can do that with the MacBook Pro. You can plug 2 4K displays into it, and I'm doing that for Howard Parker, and it works great. If that's not important to you, and you're just using it for audio production and some light video editing, the MacBook Air is way less expensive and will do the job. And Nathan says, my kids are working like crazy in VO. That's awesome. Nathan does voiceover, and his 2 teenage daughters are doing voiceover from the studio. That is awesome. Great news. All right, now I'm signing off. 4 reels this time. Have a great rest of the day, everybody. This has been George Whittam for Whittam's World signing off. Thanks for tuning in. Bye.